Hey there, my friends. This is Robin Hood, and today I am bringing you episode 2 of my TED tutorial. So, last time we covered the basics, making mountains, hills, buildings, just all the general stuff, settings, deployment zones, and all that. Link to that video, episode 1, if you haven't seen it, is in the top left corner, and episode 3, once it is posted, the link will be in the top right, so you guys can take a look at that. But today we're going to go over a few more things and then actually start legitimately building this map. So you guys can watch that part if you want or not. But here, first thing I'm going to go over, I'm going to take a building, archery range, that's fine, and place it in the middle of the map here. And this has where it's placed has nothing to do with what I'm showing you. Just showing you guys how to go ahead and create key buildings, key points, and one thing I do want to point out, if you grab a castle tower, like one of these, and place it, that will already be a capturable point in the game because they are set that way for sieges and such. So if you place one of those, it's already one. But say this building, it is not a key building as they are called in game. So how would you make it that? And I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So you go to create, select your building, and then you go ahead and go down to capture location here and place one in the center. So you see that blue circle there, go to select so that you don't place another one. And then you see there's a little, it gets smaller as I go down. There's a purple circle here, and you can change the size of it like that. So you could make a capture point that big, a shrine, and you would be able to capture it if you were in that circle. And that's pretty much that. You just save them, and then there's one more thing that you have to do to actually make these work in game, and I will throw in a clip showing that right now. Okay, guys, so here we are on my desktop once again. Go to your user and app data. I just clicked it here on the left. Roaming, Creative Assembly, Shogun 2, Maps, and this was Coastline. That was the name of that map. Not done yet. And then you find your file that says map info here. That one highlighted. You right click it, click edit, and then see right here where it says has key buildings false. In order to make that work, you have to take this false and type in true. Then you save that, go ahead and exit it. And when you double click this, it should say, yep, has key buildings true, and it will let you use those key buildings. So besides that, guys, let's go ahead and get back to the map. Okay, guys, so here we are back in the actual editor, and the reason I'm voiceovering this is my mic accidentally turned off when I switched back, but I fixed it later on, so this will only be short term, but now this map is enabled for key buildings. We won't be doing that right at this moment though, and went ahead and to delete those things or anything, draw a box around it, or you could go to the right in the tools and find it in there. It's generally under layers and base layer, if you can see that, and you can select it and just delete it. Now right there, I was looking at the particle effects, and those, you know, I know how to use them, and I'll show you guys how to use them a bit later, but those are like fires and fog and that kind of stuff hanging over a certain section of the map if you want that, and that really isn't all that useful until you actually have a map. That's one of the last things you want to put on, so we're gonna go ahead and start building the map here. So what I was gonna do at this point is go ahead and get my brush set up. Height to negative zero point 0.5 so that makes it so there is water. Water is under the level 0 and below, well, 0 and below pretty much. Changing the scale of my brush to make it bigger and easier to use. And you'll just see there when I actually click here. There we go. Have to hold it down. I have my brush set on normal water. But if you look to the left of that, you see how steep that drop off is into the water, and I didn't want that. So what I did is I'm going to end up taking this here and going back to the standard height of 10. So now we have a flat map again, and I am changing the standard height. And what I wanted this to be was I ended up actually changing it to 4, but I wanted the whole map to be a little bit smaller than it actually is, or lower, closer to the water. And the reason for that is so that there will be less of a drop off when I actually make the water level there. So you can see, made a really big brush, set it to 4, and when I drew, you can see now that it is a lot lower. So just gonna do that to the whole map real quickly. Doesn't take long. You can kind of see water flashing now. That is just a glitch when you get really high up with the TED, and that's the editor, in the editor. And when that happens, that just ignore it. Doesn't happen in game. As you can see when I zoom in, it goes away. It's just because you are closer to the water level now in the game. I don't know if I believe that 4 stands for meters. I'm not quite sure though. But yeah, that's that. You can see just filling in the whole map. And almost done with it there. And you can see where the water is, that blue outlining. That is actually just, how far you actually see in game in the map and all that good stuff. Beyond that, water wouldn't spawn and all that stuff. That's how far you see in game, and you'll see that later on. I actually take you down in game and show you all of that. Now right here, you can see I now have that, and I am going back to my negative 0.5 height and getting a mountain brush. And it was at this point in the video when I was actually making it, before I noticed my mic was off, that I said, these brushes, you can make your own if you are a modder. You can do all of that and, make your own custom brushes. These are just the preset ones. There are already custom brush packs you can download, and there's links to them on the Total War forums. But you can see I'm just making different textures with the brushes here and all of that good stuff. Just making it, and then you go out. And once you have to the edge of the map there, you can see that's as far as your troops would possibly be going. So then I just drew a line out to where it actually stops letting you place water, which is right there. And you can see that. And that little glitch right there where you see the ground underneath, that is not supposed to happen. That is just a glitch with the editor once again, and when that happens, ignore it. That doesn't happen in game. But if it weren't for that happening, you wouldn't be able to tell the depth of things actually, because the water doesn't move, so you can't see where the lower areas are. And right here you can see how the texture of the map actually stops right by the sand there. And that's a problem if you are making like a sandy map. That means you have to have mountains there or something to block off the view so people don't see that just suddenly transitions to grass. And you'll see later when I actually go onto the map that I decide to go ahead and put some cliffs there to make it look like this is just one small stretch of beach, and cliffs go either direction so it doesn't look just sand turning into grass suddenly. So, I kind of wish they would let you paint out farther, at least as far as your computer actually renders. Textures like that so it looks better. Because right now it's kind of hard to make a desert map if you wanted one. Because there were some cool ones back in Empire Total War like Syrian Ridge. They have that in this map, but it is called Alpine Ridge, and it has, I believe it's Alpine Ridge, not quite sure, but it's grass and stuff, and I would like to make a desert map, and that's going to be a bit tricky to do, so I'll be doing that one later, not when I have to actually make this tutorial, so that I can really spend some time on it and work. But now I have my coastline all set up, and here in a second, you guys will see that right now I was realizing that my mic was actually turned off, and I am going to take you just in a second here back to the actual live commentary, so sorry for the inconvenience. Okay guys, from that point, I don't know how long it has been since my mic has actually cut out. I'll just voice over the thing. I don't know why it's been doing that. I need to resolve that issue. But basically what I said made this section 0.5 height so that men could walk in it. This section a lot deeper, -10, so men can't walk in it, and had a plan for the map being at a coastline, and that's what it is. Ignore any of these glitches. This is just something with the map editor that it does, showing the ground underneath. But if we go ahead and look underneath, you should be able to see the incline that happens as we go to the right, and then you end up above ground. See, up here we are where you can walk, and the water goes over here, so you could technically actually walk men in this water. But now what we're going to do is take our scale down to 40 here. There we go. Change our brush to the gradient round and height. What did we set it at? 4 as our standard height. Put it to smooth, and make this transition from land to sea nice and pretty with the smoothing tool, which basically just takes away these slight ridges and makes it a much more smoother, technically, because of the name there, transition. And you know, there's not that sharp ridge cut off, so you just go over what you want to with this tool. And once again, I show how to do all of this more in depth when I'm not actually trying to build a map in the first episode of the tutorial. But you can see there. So now we have a coastline. Smooth out back there a little bit more. Okay. So that's good. Now we're going to go to blend. Change this to sand. Gradient round again. And now start putting some sand textures on here, because this is our beach line, and you can't paint the textures out here, sadly, so I don't know. I have not tried this yet, so I don't know how this will actually look once we are in game, as it transitions farther out from the actual map area. And I'm going ahead of myself there. Okay, so now we've got a beach line. That is nice. Let's make this come in a bit farther. Just going on out there. Good. And yeah. Just adding some texture to it, so it's not just one straight line. Okay, so now we have all that. And what I'm going to do here is actually change this down to 20 and put mud along the edges, but I'm not going to keep it there. And you guys will see what I mean in the second. Just going to put some mud there, like so, along the edges. Good. And you guys might be wondering why I'm doing this if I am not going to keep it there. I'm going to show you. It's just an effect I'm trying to create. Because, you know, when you zoom out, and it looks different in game, but that doesn't really look all that good. It's just too much of a change, and when you smooth it out, it doesn't do anything there. So what you do here is put this to grass, and it will take you back to your original color. And you guys might think this was absolutely pointless, but notice I am not erasing all of the mud. There is now just a thin little line of it right in the transition from grass to sand. And that there, to me, is just a nice little effect, a better transition than just straight to grass. And like this way, it's not as obnoxious as having all that mud. So once we finish this, good to go. Okay. Take a little bit more right there. Got this section. See, some places I am getting all of it. Some places I'm not. but just taking away some of this effect. And there we go. So now we have a much nicer looking beach there. My opinion, that is. Once again, this is all opinion, and that'll be nice. Okay. So I don't know if we want to have trees right by the beach or not. All I know is that I want the ground to slowly incline to the left. And the way I'm going to do that is probably with well, don't do it here, gotta change this to height. Remember guys, my height is 5 or 4, that is. And let's grab some mountains. Let's put our scale to 200 again. Yeah, that's a bit small. Do 400, and our height to the max it can be is 100. So I'm gonna do let's do like 68-ish. And forgot, gotta change this to normal. So there's kind of a mountain. And not quite as big as I want it to be though. And when you just keep adding it up on normal, it makes it like that. So we'll put this back to 4 and get rid of it. So remember, the standard height's 10. I lowered it just to make the transition to water a little bit better by covering the whole map there. Let's make the height. See what it looks like on 100. That should be just fine. Although once again, you know guys, just trial and error. So let's do 68 again. Change this to click that up a little bit, and let's change our brush some. Like that. Okay, but what are these tactical hills? Yeah, that's fine. Get a mountain going over here. And there we go. Now we have mountains to the right and to the left. And let's get one more set over here. Okay, there we go. Getting the white tops on them. Nice. And then, you know, guys, from there we can have the mountains change, going farther back. Just putting some effects on that. There we go. Okay. And let's change this one up a little bit. And I am mixing hills to do this. So, you know, I had the giant tactical hill and such. And I believe I already did that brush. Let's go with this one. Put this going out this way. And I am using the additive brush to actually do this. And for now we will do that. We will add the rest of the mountains later. Those are actually probably pretty darn tall. Probably taller than they need to be, but oh well. Once they get the white tops on them, they're actually really kind of tall in game. Doesn't matter all that much to me though. Let's see. Let's take this brush. And as they get farther out, they lose their graphics. Mainly because they are, yeah, see, that one's really tall. So what I do to these is I go over it and I put sharpen on it. And that actually makes an indent the shape of your mountain on that mountain. And puts puts kind of an edge to it. And then we go additive, and to make the farther back ranges, you just kind of draw like such. Switch up the brushes. And just add some little effects like that. That one is probably a bit tall there. So once again, go down to sharpen on it. And there you go. Back down to size. And that's just kind of what I do with the brushes. Like that. And then from here you get you know, your different mountain ranges. You can just kind of run it around quickly like that to get those weird mountains, and that gives you your background so that you are not rendering a ton in the back, which is good. And once again, when a mountain gets too tall, because look at how much taller this one is than our others. Like I said, just change it to sharpen, and there you go, down to size. And that's that. So let's pick one more. And if you move your mouse really quickly, it doesn't add up too much in the back. And guys, the reason you put this back here once again, if you didn't watch the first episode, is people are like, why do you put mountains in the back? How on earth would an army get there? It's not about how an army gets there. It's about your computer not having to render a ton, and you know, having a background, something to look at, cut off your field of vision, so it is not just a blank grassland, because that actually isn't very fun. And you know what I think we're gonna do is have mountains going to the edge of the sea here, like such. And there we go. Got our mountain range. So as you can see, we now have mountains surrounding our map, and if you go too far one direction, you get lost like this. So the way you get out of this, and I need to do this anyway, is save your map, and then find your way back. I went that direction too far, and it's just kind of a glitch if you go out of that bounds. Well, not really a glitch, you're just not supposed to go out of it. As you can see farther back, the mountains look more plasticky. They're not really, you know, all that detailed like they are up close to the battlefield here. And anyhow, though, you know, we now have something to look at when we look around in battle. You can see the mountains, you can see the sea and the coast and all of that good stuff. And then what we're going to add next time, guys, is a hill coming up to the left, so it'll be a slight incline, and we will be able to start actually adding features to the actual battlefield. Just getting the outline so we knew what we were dealing with. But real quickly, I will go to a clip showing you guys what this looks like in-game at the current moment. Good thing about doing that, so you know, we'll save it one more time. Always save, the TED can crash sometimes. And that'll be that. So I will see you guys on the battlefield and then next time. Hope you enjoy. Okay guys, so I did a quick custom battle. Here you can see the deployment zones as they are set up, and obviously there is no real features on the map at the current moment, but by going into game and saving, and your map should just automatically appear. I forgot to rename this map. I showed you guys how to do that in the first episode if you haven't seen that, but we'll just look around and get a feel for how this looks at the current moment. So you can see the deployment zones set up. They'll be working just fine. There we go. So we've got a full deployment zone. It's perfect. There's the mountains. Fine. And the actual beaches. Gonna want this end to come back a bit more, it looks like. but you can see where you can walk and where it goes out to water, and you can't see the just random green in the distance. That ocean goes on forever. My only problem with the editor is that it stops right here, so we're gonna have to make that is wonderful AI. We are going to have to make a cliff-like edge here to make it look like this is the only little beach, but for now looks just fine to me. It's a very, very big map, though. Look at how small this unit is and how far you have to get, so we'll have to put some interesting features in there. I'm not actually going to show this battle, but at least you guys can see how it looks. And you know, you can look and see things like this, these ripples in the ground. If you want to get rid of that, you use smooth, and I'm going to get rid of it up to about this point where it actually kind of looks decent on the mountainside. But like these lines, which are caused by me making that one mountain, the edge of them, gonna get rid of that with smooth and all that good stuff. You can get rid of the rough edges. But that'll be for next time. You guys can see that. You guys know how to do it if you've watched both episodes. And we'll fix that next time. And we have this nice canvas for making a battlefield. Can put some special effects and all of that good stuff. So, you know, I think it'll end up looking pretty cool once it's done. We'll get tons of features in here. Won't just be a blank field. But otherwise, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next time. And if you're watching this and it's already out, link is in the top right. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.